Hi, I'm Marcos Chavez, age 35. Today's date is January 21st, 2014, and we're in Gallup, New Mexico.
Hi, my name is Janice Kowemy, age 32. Today is January 21st, 2014, in Gallup, New Mexico.
So, where are you from and where did you grow up?
Well, I'm from the Pueblo of Laguna, which is about maybe 70 miles east of Gallup, New Mexico. It's one of the pueblos in New Mexico, one of the 19 pueblos. I've lived there all my life. I'm 32 years old. I went to school there, have a job there. Um, I live in the village of Siama. I live with my family, my mom and dad, Martin and Gloria. I have two sisters, Christy and Kayla, and I also have a nephew. He's 3 years old now. I live near where my grandma Mary lives. Um,
Anything else you can tell us about the Pueblo?
the Pueblo, it's been there since the 1600s. I know when the Pueblo Revolt had happened, they said that's when the Pueblo of Laguna was developed, but we have a lot of different creation stories that date us back to a long, long time ago. Um, there's 6 villages within the Pueblo of Laguna. There's Masita, the Old Laguna, Powati, Ensenal, Parahi, and Siama. So we all comprise of the 6 villages. We have our own sovereign government. We are made to have a governor, lieutenant governor, the head fiscali, secretary, treasurer, and all of those positions.
Wow. And what kind of traditions or cultural things can you tell us about?
Well, one of the cultural things I can tell you about is every year we do have feast days in the Pueblo of Laguna. Each village has a feast day. Like for the main village, Pueblo of Laguna, our main feast day is September 19th, and that's to celebrate St. Joseph, because the church there in Laguna is, the patron saint is St. Joseph's. So September 19th and March 19th is when we go and celebrate the patron saint, where we have different foods. We invite people into our houses and feed them. We have traditional dances, follow the leader, the Tarawai dance. We also have buffalo, butterfly dances. We do a lot of booths, vendor booths, so people come and sell their arts and crafts. They sell food. Back in the day, there was people that would sell their crops, whatever they grew: melon, squash, beans, their chili, what else? Tomatoes, just whatever we grew. That's when they would sell them, or they would trade, barter them with other people, especially the Navajo people, Acoma people that come from all over. Back then, people would ride their covered wagons and would spend the night over in Laguna.
Wow.
So yeah, so like I said, each of the villages has their own feast day. Siamas is where I'm from is July 26th, so we're one of the first villages that do have our feast day. So we always invite people to come and go to the dances and then feed them, bring them to the house and feed them.
That sounds really nice. I actually experienced that one time with one of the other pueblos out closer to Albuquerque.
Oh, okay.
Can't remember which one, but
Uh-huh.
it was a really interesting experience and a lot of fun.
Yeah, each pueblo is different, so they have their own. It's really neat just to go and just see all the different pueblos and just go and experience their feast days. You always need to get a feast burger.
Oh yes. So, what was it like growing up in the Pueblo, and how do you think it might be different from somebody growing up in, say, like a big city?
Uh-huh. Well, for me, it's a really small place to grow up. You have your family, your friends. I think one of the biggest things that was different is that you would just see people that were from Laguna, so you really don't see people that were not Laguna, that were not Native American, or even just not from the area, or even I didn't when I first experienced learning about outside of Laguna. I didn't realize there were other tribes in New Mexico too, and
Oh.
I've never visited them.
Uh-huh.
So I had the chance I went to high school at Santa Fe Indian School in Santa Fe, so that's when I kind of got my whole experience of other tribes and working with different people. So, but growing up in Laguna, where we have we really close to our family, so we keep our family close to us. Grandmas, grandpas, aunties, uncles, cousins. I grew up with all of those, and my mom comes from a big family, so I always had aunties and uncles and kids to play with, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I went to the Laguna Head Start program there Went through the Laguna Elementary School, went to Laguna Middle School, and then I ended up going to Santa Fe Indian School. So it was, it's a really good experience, just being with family, really family oriented. So that's what I really like about it.
So what kinds of things did you do for fun when you were growing up?
There wasn't too much to do back in Laguna. There was just, like I said, just when we do family get-togethers, the feast days, or even just I really enjoy it when my family would get together during holidays or birthdays. Even just for the weekend, we would go to somebody's house, have a barbecue, the kids would be playing, or we would go to maybe the sand hills where we go and the kids would play in the sand, dig holes, and go sliding down the sand. So that was a lot of fun, kind of what we would do for fun. Back then there wasn't really the technology, video games or anything, so we kind of had to, do what we, keep ourselves entertained, make mud pies, and so it was a lot of fun. I really miss those days, especially the kids now. They don't never really get a chance to kind of play outside or make mud pies or just play different kind of games. So yeah, that's
too bad.
Yeah.
Did you have any sort of animals around that were common? Because around here, I know a lot of the natives have sheep that they herd or other animals of that type.
When I was growing up, actually, my grandma and grandpa on my dad's side, they raised a lot of animals. They had sheep, they had turkeys, they had chicken, goats. I know we had a lot of dogs and cats, so I do remember that they did raise that, and that was part of their livestock. We did a lot of growing vegetables, corn, squash, just everything to kind of, for the family. So I do remember going and getting excited when I get home from school, going into the chickens' pens and trying to go find some eggs. So I really enjoy, doing that. And I never really got to, like when they butchered sheep and stuff, I never got to experience that part of it. But I just remember us growing up with a lot of animals. So, yeah.
Have you experienced that part of it now that you're older?
No, I haven't.
No,
it's changed. Yeah, it's changed since my grandpa's not alive anymore. My grandma's there, so she can't really do anything. So we try to, keep whatever few trees we do have, and then my mom and dad do have their own little farm or their own little field area. So we try to grow what we can, learn how to, grow the corn and stuff like that. So it's and try to keep those traditions alive and teaching each other how to grow vegetables and stuff.
Great. So when did you begin working at the library in Laguna?
Actually, it was a funny story. I had mentioned I graduated from the Santa Fe Indian School, and my high school librarian, Alana McGrattan, she asked me if I wanted a summer job. That summer I graduated, so I said, yeah, that'd be fun. So she told me that there was a grant called the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation that were giving out grants to libraries for the Native American Access to Technology grant. So there was 5 libraries in New Mexico that received that grant. And what they were going to be getting was Gates computers, 4 Gates computers, a scanner, a color printer, a digital camera, a satellite for the internet, and a few other pieces of it. So what my job was that the Gates people came and trained 5 of us. Actually, we were students from Santa Fe New School. They trained us how to use the computers, how to do the troubleshooting for the software and the hardware, how to teach people how to use the computers, install software, how to do troubleshooting with the printers, and just teach people how to use all that technology. So it was a lot of fun. The library at that time, at Laguna Public Library, before I got there was only one computer that had dial-up internet, and people would have to do an appointment to go ahead and use the computer. So when I got there, my job was to go ahead and kind of teach the people, my community, how to use the computers. And then also that was our first catalog that we did have. So my job was to go ahead and enter all the materials that we did have in the library and put it in that catalog so we could have it electronically.
Wow.
So that's kind of how I got started. And this was, let me see, that was in 2000 when I graduated. So I stayed there during, at the time I was going to the University of New Mexico for my bachelor's degree. So I would stay there during the summer, and during my breaks I would go and work at the library through the IMLS grant that the library got. So I really enjoyed working there. I loved working with the people, loved teaching people how to use the computers and showing them just everything. That was what I really enjoyed doing the summer reading program. So in 2002, I went to my first American Library Association conference in Atlanta, Georgia.
Wow.
And that's where I met, a lot of librarians from all over the United States, even international. And got to see academic librarians, school librarians, public librarians, museum people, archivists. It was really a big, something that just opened my eyes to librarianship, and I figured this is something that I really want to do. So I had met my professor, Dr. Lorene Roy. She's a professor at the University of Texas, Austin, and she was telling me that she was really encouraging me to go into librarianship, but this is what I really wanted to do. She really wanted me to go ahead and go through school, get my master's degree, and go to library school. So she was telling me about a program that she wrote, a grant to the IMLS Laura Bush 21st Century Grant. And what that grant is to get 6 indigenous library students and get them through the master's program and get them out into the community. So that's the program that I eventually went to. So I went to get my master's degree at the University of Texas, Austin.
Oh, did you actually go there, or was it online?
I actually went there. So as soon as I finished my degree, finished at UNM in 2005. I actually just I had a little time there where I contemplated if I really wanted to go into librarianship. So I actually took a year off, and I worked at the Sky City Casino Hotel in the tourism sales and catering office. So I went out and promoted all of their entities to all of New Mexico. So I was in Tucumcari, I was in Gallup, I was in Las Cruces, just kind of promoting everything that they have, their museum, their casino. And it was a lot of fun. And my degree was actually for UNM was business and marketing. So so that helped me. And little did I realize that was probably one of the most important experiences that would help me within libraries.
Wow.
Is going out and marketing, especially library services. Yeah, so the librarian at Laguna, Elizabeth Wakando, she had been the librarian since the first library opened in 1974.
Wow.
So at that time, it was down in the old village in one of the old schoolhouses. So she had the library there. So the way that she looked for funding to build a new library, which is the one we're currently in. So in 1998, she was able to secure funding to go ahead and build a brand new library. So that's what she did. It's about 2,800 square feet right now. So that's what we're based out of now. So when I came to work with her, it was actually pretty much a brand new library, and it was really neat. So she told me that she was already in her 80s by the time I got to work with her, and she was wanting to retire. So she said, well, if you want, this is what you want to do, then I'll wait for you. I'll wait till you get your degree, and you can come back and take over the library. So that was what I was looking forward to. But unfortunately, she had ended up passing away in July 2007, about a semester before I finished my master's degree. Yeah, so she never really got to retire. So she was still librarian. So, but she had told the people there at the tribe, the council, that she really wanted me to, I'm going to school for this, and as soon as I'm done, they should put me in her position. So that's what happened. As soon as I finished, I applied for the job, and that's how I became the librarian. So it's, everything just kind of fell into place with me becoming the librarian. I never really realized that librarianship was an actual career.
Wow.
So it's been great. It's been really good to me. I really enjoy it. It's like my dream job. I really enjoy waking up and going to the library and doing what I do every single day. So,
what are some of the best experiences that you've had while you've been in charge in Laguna?
There's a lot of experiences. One of the first things I did was I went through all the books and took out all the old 1970s and 80s from the collection, and it really opened up a lot of space for us to bring a lot of new materials in. One of the biggest ones was doing DVDs, circulating DVDs, because a lot of people, we used to have a video rental store, but then after it closed, and there wasn't really anything, so people, wanted to watch DVDs. Doing a lot of summer reading programs. That's been probably the best. It's just being able to work with the kids and show them about the library and what the library is about and what they offer, especially when they're in school. Teaching them how to, just motivating them to read, making sure they read through during the summer, and just just teaching them about the library. That's probably one of the biggest things. Another thing that we do is we work with the Head Start program, which is just located right behind the library, and we do offer story time and activities for them. So they come over, and it's kind of, I think it's one of the most important stepping stones because that's their first exposure to going to a library and learning about what the library is, and it's getting them to be comfortable with going to the library. That way, when they get older, they're not afraid to come in and ask for help. They get to know the staff, and I think it's important that one of the biggest things that was, when I was in graduate school, the biggest things that we were trying to enforce was that having somebody that looks familiar, to you, that you're not uncomfortable in going to the library, instead of just having someone that's not Laguna, that's not native, just being there and, not being comfortable to ask them for questions and stuff like that way. So that's one of the big things, was to go and make them feel comfortable that this is their library in the community and that they're welcome whenever they need help with something.
What other advantages do you think you have, being that you're from there and the librarian there, versus somebody who would be an outsider coming in and working there?
For me, I think it was because I grew up there, so I pretty much know a lot of people, and I think them knowing who I am and my family, that they were comfortable going there. And also, it's all about the cultural part of it too, being able to understand the cultural aspects of being Laguna, of the people there. I think that's one of the most important things, is just being able to understand that cultural part of it.
Does that help you in deciding what books you want to bring in and what books you need to weed? And
yeah, that helped a lot. I actually got my minor in Native American Studies at UNM too, so that helped a lot. So it's, just learning about all these different authors and Native authors, and just these different issues, like about the boarding school. I know a lot of people have projects related to the boarding school era, or if they have the mining era, stuff like that. So I have to be knowledgeable all the time about what these issues are, like the Indian Reorganization Act, the what do you call it, the Termination Act. So those are the things you have to be knowledgeable on, and when you do get look at materials for Native American studies, that you have to know, which authors are good, or what's the core part of the information that you need from the book, and not just a general part of it. So that's really helped me a lot with selecting books.
Oh, that's great. And when you went to college, when you went out of state, what kinds of things did you see that maybe were strange to you, or different than what you'd been experiencing your whole life growing up?
I think, well, I was really fortunate that I went to Santa Fe Indian School, and then that was when I was a freshman in high school, and I think that really prepared me to be independent and be able to take care of myself, have a schedule where I need to do my work, I need to do my laundry, I need to go eat, stuff like that. That helped me a lot with preparing myself to be independent. So when I was able to go to University of Texas Austin, I moved by myself over there to Austin, and I was there by myself for that whole year and a half. And so having that experience in high school helped me with just being independent. I was moved there by myself. I didn't have no family. There wasn't no Native American people there. So I really had to get make friends that weren't Native American, which I was comfortable with already. So it's and just going to that big university and just being away from home, I think was the biggest thing for me. But other than that, I was really comfortable, especially learning from these professors that are really top rated, learning from my peers, and being able to learn about Texas. Texas is a big library hub.
Right. Was there any culture shock at all?
Not really.
No,
I wasn't. Yeah, I was kind of used to it. I know we have the Hispanic is the same, similar to Native culture, that type family and things like that. So I wasn't really, not too much of a culture shock.
That's good. So how did you get involved with the New Mexico Library Association? So when did you get involved with the New Mexico Library Association?
Well, when I graduated from library school, and I started my job in 2008. And I went to my first Native American Library Special Interest Group meeting, NALSIG. That's a special interest group of the New Mexico Library Association. So I went to my first meeting in April at the New Mexico Library Association annual conference. And right away, they threw me into the mix, and I was elected secretary of the group.
Wow.
Yeah, so they wanted me to go ahead and, that's how they kind of got me into NMLA. So I was in NELSIC for about a year. I was secretary. We did a lot of things that um, kind of help tribal libraries in New Mexico do a lot of networking, a lot of planning, sharing ideas, and just kind of coming together and working as one group. The following year, I got elected as the president of the Native American Library Special Interest Group. So I had been president for, let me see, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, for about 4 years I was president. And it was a really, really great experience for me, just being able to work with tribal libraries in New Mexico, being able to help people, being able to just, work together. And we always had a lot of fun helping each other. And out of the Native American Library Special Interest Group, we were able to form a New Mexico Tribal Libraries Foundation. And what that was to help raise money for tribal libraries in New Mexico, the ones that participated. So what we did was we had a few fundraisers and silent auctions, fashion shows, to get started. And that, that worked good, but we wanted to take it somewhere else. So we went ahead and had our first annual Tribal Libraries Golf Tournament in Isleta. And I think that's where we kind of hit what our niche was. And that was really successful for us. So with all the funds that we raised, we used that toward our programs at our libraries, or if we needed equipment like gas, or if we needed to pay our Wi-Fi or electricity bill, because a lot of the funding sources that we do get, it's very restricted and we can only use it for certain things. So the one area that was lacking was, of course, salaries and operational expenditures. Yeah, so that's kind of why we got together. And so far, there's been Acoma, Laguna, Isleta, Janice, San Ildefonso, Santa Clara, and Pewaukee have been the ones that have been really participating in this group. So right now, we took a year off last year, but we're hoping to get started with that again this year and hopefully doing a golf tournament at Sandia Pueblo. Oh. Yeah, so we're really excited about that. And with NMLA too, I was also elected as a member at large for the association. And what the member at large does is that they're a liaison to the special interest group within NMLA, like the legislation committee, NELSIC, the school libraries group, and the bonds for libraries. So it just depends on what. So I was assigned, of course, to NELSIC and the bonds for libraries group. And what that one is each year, every other year, we go to the legislature, all types of libraries, and go and advocate and ask for money from the legislature in the form of general obligation bonds. So that group is the one that gets all the materials together and kind of just gets it, all orchestrated, and us going and getting the materials out to the legislatures and also to the libraries, so that way they can go ahead and advocate within their own communities. So that's some of the things that I've been doing with NMLA.
Are there any other groups you're a part of?
Not really, no, just NELSIC and bonds. But I've been working a lot with the school librarians, the academic librarians, and the public librarians. So we always work together, and it's really a great experience for us to kind of get together and become one and advocate for all libraries within New Mexico. So that's one of our biggest things, is just working together as one. And with the theme for the mini conference this year, it's Libraries United. So we're trying to bring that aspect of working together as one to accomplish more things.
So what do you see ahead in the future of libraries, especially in Laguna?
Right now in Laguna, we're working on, one of my big dreams is to get a brand new library, because the library that we currently have now, it was 2,800 square feet. But when it was designed in 3 phases, and if you look at it from the top, it's supposed to look like an eagle in the sky. So right now, all we have is the body, so we're missing the wings.
Yeah. Oh, that would be neat.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to try to get, right now, the building that we're in, we've really outgrown it. There's a lot of things now with libraries that, that we have to keep up with, computers, technology, programs, and stuff like that. So we want to make it a little bit bigger. So what I had done was I had put in a request through our capital improvements projects with the tribe, and I had requested to be put on the list to get a brand new library. So right now we're in the stages of the general obligation bond money for tribal libraries. They let us use some of that money to do construction planning and design just for tribal libraries. And this was for 2010. the money from them. So the money that we do have now, I put $30,000 and allocated that so we can do the planning and design of the library. So the library site that we're gonna look at is actually at the old Laguna Acoma High School. Right now they call it the Kowemy Center, and that's kind of where they want to put a lot of the kind of make it a community area where they put the senior center, the veteran center, the gym, and multifamily housing, just an area where everybody can gather. So right now that's where we're looking at getting the library, and we have it at 12,000 square feet, so it's almost 6 times as big as what we have. Yeah.
What would you like to see the space used for, and if you had that much space?
Right now, the building that we're in right now, it's just a one big open room. So I would like to have a lot of space to do programs, space for the kids, the children, a space for the teens, and a space for the adults. Have a place for to do programs and host programs. A space for a reading area. Even spaces like to have people, if they want to do study sessions, have little rooms designated for those. Expand the storage area. We always need storage. Of course, expand the staff area, and also have an outdoor area where we can do programs outside as well, like a small amphitheater type. Let me see, and also do have a space for museums and archive stuff, because I know that's really important for us, that we need to start looking toward that and trying to, preserve our culture, history, and traditions, and also make that available for the community to come and look at that too.
That sounds great.
Yeah, and another idea too, what I really want to do, since we're so spread out within our 6 villages, I am also looking at getting a bookmobile.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to get that pretty soon. I had to apply for some grants, but I think that's that would be really essential for us, because a lot of people, since our villages are kind of spread out, maybe 10, 15 miles away, and a lot of people don't have transportation, and we have limited public transportation. I think that's going to be a big help, and also for especially the kids that can't go anywhere, and also the elders.
Right.
So, so I'm looking forward to that.
Well, that sounds great. I hope it all works out for you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for sitting and talking with us.
Okay, thank you.